just want to talk today about a few of the things you should be watching when you're driving rather than playing with your cell phone or looking around. There are all sorts of things that you need to be concentrating on when you're driving one of these trucks. One of the best practices is to always look as far ahead down the road as you possibly can and try to anticipate trouble. Watch for cars going sideways in bad weather or merging onto the highway from ramps. And always keep in mind that whatever is up ahead of you could be potential trouble. And I like to watch for an escape route from potential trouble. So I'm always checking my left side, my right side. So if a car turns sideways in front of me, I know I can move left quickly if I have to because I've already looked there. And I already know there's nothing beside me. That's not to say you shouldn't check it constantly, because you should. But I like to keep an eye on everything going around me and keep an eye on it. Give myself an out if I need an escape route to avoid an accident. I like to leave plenty of room in front of my vehicle and as much room all the way around my vehicle as possible. I don't like to be tucked in among the cars, because if you need to change lanes or move, there might be somebody sitting in your blind spot that you haven't noticed. So you're always better to keep yourself in a wide open area in the clear. It's tough too in traffic because you've got cars cutting in front of you all the time. But what I do is I just continuously slow down just to let them get ahead of me. So I've always got a big safe operating distance in front of my truck. I don't like people close out in front of me here, and because you don't know what they'll do. And if they do something stupid, you need time to react. And if they're too close to you, you won't have the time to react. Should always be aware of what's going on around you. Always checking your mirrors, checking your blind spots. You should be looking in the mirrors, A, to keep an eye on the traffic around you, and B, to keep an eye on your trailer. Make sure there's nothing going on with your trailer, such as a flat tire or smoke coming out from underneath it, something like that. Keep an eye on your trailer as well as the traffic around you. You should always be aware of your surroundings. The more aware, the better. So that's a few of the pointers that I like to pay attention to. I don't think you should be talking on the cell phone or playing with your headset or anything like that. This is an important job, and it takes your full attention to do it well. So keep your full attention focused on what you're doing, where you're going, what your surroundings are. Pay complete and full attention to your job, and you'll do well at it. I like to scan all my gauges. I like to do that constantly because gauges are an indicator of potential mechanical trouble. That's what they're for. So you're always checking your gauges. You don't want, just even the simple things. You don't want to run low on fuel. You want to make sure your electrical system's charging. You want to make sure you're not overheating. There are all sorts of things that gauges can tell you, and you should keep an eye on all of these. Some big companies now don't like to pay for the extra gauges, but every gauge has a purpose. So every gauge is giving you an indicator of how the truck is functioning, and they're all important. So it's something to keep in mind. I usually run with the GPS on, particularly when I don't know the area that I'm in, because the GPS will give me indicators as to important things, such as scales coming up, for instance. The GPS will indicate that I've got a scale coming up. GPSs are a handy working tool, and if you've got your directions punched in or your address that you're headed to, most of them will even tell you what lane you should be in and that type of thing, and how close you are to your exit ramp, that type of thing. They're a handy tool. They're useful, particularly when you have no idea where you're going to yet, if it's a new customer or something like that. Something else I like to pay attention to are the outside temperature and the weather going on around me. I have an outside temperature gauge here. I think most trucks should have that now, and it'll tell you whether the wet surface is turning to ice. I like to pay attention to what's up ahead of me as well, because I'm always watching for things like low bridges or low wires, anything like that, anything that will possibly cause me a problem. So I'm always aware of my surroundings.